Another thing that the Cubs did while we were off that had strange timing that you alluded to was the famous Saving Wrigley Field documentary release. And I actually I hadn't seen it until yesterday. Did you? I'm sure you didn't bother watching it. You've seen,
I'm gonna go with no.
if you've seen any Cubs productions, they're well done, but they're all the same. They're, you see a bunch of shots of Wrigley Field and, Crane Kenny's spouting off and a quick clip from Tom Ricketts and everything else. You've seen them a million times. This one was special in that it was literally themselves celebrating themselves, and like as you said, for saving Wrigley Field, for triumphing over adversity and finding a way to save this now a national landmark. Again, the timing of it is what's
Yeah.
suspect. I think this is, spending $1 billion and then congratulating yourself is kind of a weird thing, but they did a great job. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
no one's
No one's gonna
complaining
agree.
about
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
It's just the timing of it is just so weird in that it's clear. Part of it is they wanted to do some of these things last year, but obviously everything got postponed due to COVID. The national landmark status, I believe, just happened, so that was going to coincide with the documentary release. So that makes a little sense. But it's so off-putting to, after you have jettisoned all the household names off of the greatest Cubs teams we've ever seen.
Yeah.
They're celebrating what in the grand scheme of things are small things. That saving Wrigley Field. It's great, but I want to win ball games. They could play in a fucking shack for all I care. If they're winning World Series, that's what people should care about. I got into deep into the documentary itself, and I'm calling it, instead of saving Wrigley Field, I'm calling it saving private equity. It reminded me of the production value of, a Steven Spielberg level film. Saving Private Ryan came to mind, so I've got a bunch of graphics I'll be putting up this week for that.
Nice. I'm looking forward to that.
I think you'll get a kick out of that. But just the grandiose, you immediately see Crane Kenny, which I'm on record saying I never want to hear his name or see his face again. Of course, he was plastered all over. He may as well have been the narrator of this fucking thing. But talking about how much adversity they had to triumph over to get this stadium back, talking about how they had to dig pilings down 100 feet to get to bedrock because the upper deck was going to collapse and all this shit. It's like, okay, great. The funniest part is they made this documentary to create some drama. Of course, you have to have a protagonist and an antagonist. And the protagonists, of course, are the Cubs, Crane Kenny, Tom Ricketts. They saved the field, but who'd they save it from?
Alderman Tunney?
Well, that was my thought, and I've actually been on many diatribes against Lord Tunney of Wrigleyville, as I like to call him, the alderman Tom Tunney, who was a fucking prick throughout the process. They did bring him into the documentary, which I was surprised about. They brought him in a couple times, and he got to say his piece and how he was going to be an asshole to them and everything else. He got his point across, but it was limited. But I thought it was pretty. A well-rounded documentary in that they did let him have some say in it. The weird part of it is before they even brought up Lord Tunney, they brought up the adversity they faced back in the mid 80s when they were talking about lighting Wrigley Field, and they went after the neighborhood lady that started the grassroots organization to stop the Cubs from putting up lights. It was cleverly called, if you don't remember, Citizens United for Baseball and Sunshine. Spells out Cubs. And I forget the lady's name, but she's like a 70-year-old woman at the time. And so they kind of made her out to be a villain that was, everyone's trying to stop the Cubs from doing what they want to do. It's just kind of, it's just ridiculous and gross. But really the main thing is, as you pointed out to begin with, the timing of it was just bad. So I'm going to have fun this week, at least, making fun of saving Wrigley Field, aka saving the Ricketts private equity.